Stop. Before you scroll past this video, I need you to hear one sentence. Right now, someone is manipulating you, and you don't even know it. I'm going to show you exactly how they do it and how to make it impossible for them to ever do it again. Your brain will never work the same way. If you've ever felt used, lied to, or blindsided, hit like now. This video is for you. Section 1. The Promise. Build the stakes. Watch this, and you will be dangerously smart. I am not talking about book smart. I am not talking about school smart. I am talking about the kind of smart that makes people nervous when you walk into a room. The kind of smart that lets you see what people are really doing behind what they're saying. The kind of smart where you cannot be lied to, cannot be manipulated, cannot be controlled, ever again. Most people go through life half asleep. They take things at face value. They trust what they're told. They believe the world works the way their teachers, parents, and leaders told them it works. And decade after decade, they're left confused, wondering why life doesn't go the way it should, why good people get passed over, why hard work goes unrewarded, why the people they trust most are the ones who hurt them deepest. The reason? Simple. They are missing 7 pieces of information, 7 mental shifts discovered by the most ruthlessly honest political philosopher who ever lived, a man who was imprisoned, tortured, and exiled for telling the truth about how the world actually works. His name was Machiavelli. And in the next 25 minutes, you will learn what he spent a lifetime learning, compressed into 7 permanent shifts. Once these shifts happen inside your brain, you become a different person. You see patterns others miss. You predict outcomes others can't imagine. You read people like open books. And this makes you dangerous. Not dangerous in a violent way, dangerous in the way that means no one can play you. No one can fool you. No one can use the same tricks that work on everyone else. Now, I need to warn you about something before we go further. These 7 shifts are permanent. Once you see what I'm about to show you, you cannot unsee it. You cannot pretend you don't know how things actually work. And that knowledge comes with a price. You will feel more isolated. You will feel like you speak a different language than most people. You will see things that make you deeply uncomfortable. So if you want to stay innocent, stop watching now. Go back to whatever you were doing. But if you are ready to finally see clearly, if you are ready to understand how the game actually works, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, your brain will have changed forever. The first shift destroys something most people desperately want to believe, and it's the one that makes everything else possible. Stay with me. Subscribe and ring the bell right now. The next video in this series will be the most important thing you watch this year. Shift 1. People don't mean what they say. Segment 1. The foundation. Let's start with the first shift. This is the foundation. Everything else builds on this. And this is the one most people resist hardest, because it destroys something they desperately want to believe. Here it is. People don't mean what they say. I don't mean everyone is a liar. I mean that words are the least reliable indicator of what someone actually thinks, feels, or intends to do. Words are performance. Words are what people use to manage your perception of them. Words are what people say to get what they want in that moment, but words are almost never the truth. Think about how many times someone promised they'd change and stayed exactly the same. How many times someone said they cared about you and then disappeared when you needed them most. How many times someone swore they'd do something and didn't. Were they lying? Maybe. But more likely, they meant it in that moment. They felt it in that moment. And then the moment passed, the feeling passed, and the words became worthless. Because words cost nothing. You can say anything, promise anything. Machiavelli wrote, 500 years ago, that men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that he who deceives will always find someone ready to be deceived. What he meant: people want to believe words. They want to believe promises. Manipulators know this.
They tell you what you want to hear, make promises they have no intention of keeping, and it works because most people take words at face value. So what changes when you make this first shift? You stop listening to what people say and start watching what they do. Someone says they'll call you back. Do they? Someone says they value you. Do their actions reflect that? Someone says they're going to change. Are they actually changing? When you stop believing words and start believing behavior, everything becomes clear. You are no longer confused, no longer wondering why someone who claims to care keeps hurting you. You see it. Their words say one thing, their actions say another, and actions are always, always the truth. And here's what makes this shift so powerful. Once you stop believing words, you become almost impossible to manipulate. Because most manipulation is verbal. It's promises, justifications, explanations, talking their way out of accountability. And if you don't believe the words, the manipulation doesn't work. You just watch the pattern. You make your decision based on what they actually do. This infuriates manipulators. They're used to words working, and when they can't talk their way past you, they have no power. But knowing people don't mean what they say still leaves a massive gap. You still don't understand why they do what they do. The second shift answers that, and it's even harder to accept. Stay with me. Shift 2. Everyone operates from self-interest. Segment 2. The engine of all human behavior. Everyone operates from self-interest. Everyone. No exceptions. Before you get defensive, before you start listing selfless people you know, hear me out. I am not saying people are evil. I am not saying people don't care about others. I am saying that at the core of every single decision every person makes, there's a calculation. What's in this for me? Even when people are generous, there's something they gain. Maybe it's feeling good. Maybe it's reputation. Maybe it's avoiding guilt. But there is always something. This isn't a criticism. This is just how humans work. We are wired for survival, and survival means prioritizing our own needs, even when we help others. Once you see this, people stop being confusing. They become predictable. Because if you can figure out what someone's self-interest is, you can predict exactly what they'll do. Think about the last time someone disappointed you. Someone who chose you over them. Were you surprised? Were you hurt? Now, run it through the lens of self-interest. What did they gain by choosing you? What did they lose by choosing themselves? When you run the math, their decision makes perfect sense. They did what was best for them, just like they always do, just like everyone always does. Machiavelli wrote, "Men never do good unless necessity drives them to it." People don't act morally because morality matters to them. They act morally when it benefits them to act morally, when there's social pressure, consequences, or reputation on the line. But when no one's watching, when there are no consequences, most people will do what serves them. So what changes when you make this second shift? You stop being surprised by people, stop being hurt by betrayal, because betrayal isn't personal. It's just someone choosing their interest over yours. You stop expecting loyalty as a default. You understand loyalty exists only as long as it serves both parties. As the moment it stops serving one side, the loyalty ends every time. And here's the powerful part. When you understand everyone operates from self-interest, including you stop feeling guilty about prioritizing yourself. You stop sacrificing for people who wouldn't do the same. Because self-interest isn't selfish, it's survival. And the people who are winning, they knew this a long time ago. But understanding self-interest still leaves you exposed, because you might think, I'll just work harder than everyone else. I'll earn what I deserve. That thinking will keep you poor and stuck. The third shift will show you exactly why, and it destroys a fairy tale you've been living since childhood. Type Shift 2 in the comments if this is already changing how you see people. I read every comment. Shift 3. Fairness is a lie they sell children. Segment 3. The rigged game. Fairness is a lie they sell children. The world is not fair. The world has never been fair, and the world will never be fair. And the people who succeed are not the people who deserve it most. They're the people who understand how to win in it.
Think about every time you saw someone less qualified get promoted over someone more qualified. Every time someone with connections won while someone with talent struggled. Every time hard work went unrewarded while luck got celebrated. You probably thought it was a fluke, an exception, that eventually fairness would win out. It's not an exception. That is the rule. The world doesn't reward hard work. It rewards leverage. It rewards timing, being in the right place with the right people, and sometimes it rewards being ruthless enough to take what you want. Machiavelli wrote, "How we live is so far removed from how we ought to live, that he who abandons what is done for what ought to be done will sooner bring about his ruin than his preservation." Translation: if you play by how the world should work instead of how it does work, you lose. Think about how much energy you've wasted being angry about unfairness, about how someone else got something you deserved, about how the system is broken. All that anger changed nothing. The system doesn't care that you think it's unfair. The system rewards people who understand how it actually works. So what changes when you make this third shift? You stop waiting for things to be fair. Stop expecting your hard work to speak for itself. You understand you need leverage, visibility, relationships, timing. You start playing the game that actually exists, not the game you wish existed. But here's what makes this even darker. It's not just that the game is unfair, it's that different people are playing completely different games, and you don't even know which game you're in. The fourth shift is about to show you, and it will permanently change how you see power. Shift 4. The rules don't apply to everyone. Segment 4. The two different games. There are two sets of rules in this world. Rules for regular people and rules for powerful people, and they are not the same rules. Regular people have to follow the rules. They must show up on time, ask permission, wait their turn, pay exactly what they owe. They get fired if they break the rules, arrested if they break the law. The system enforces rules on regular people, constantly. But powerful people? Powerful people break rules all the time. They cut corners, ignore regulations, bend laws, make promises they never keep. And nothing happens to them, because the rules exist to control the powerless, not to constrain the powerful. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise prince cannot and should not keep his word when such observance may be turned against him." Powerful people don't follow rules when those rules stop serving them. They follow rules that benefit them. They break rules that don't. This isn't a conspiracy. This is just how power works. The people with power write the rules, and they always write in loopholes for themselves. So what changes with this fourth shift? You stop handicapping yourself with rules that powerful people ignore. You stop being the only person playing fair in a game where no one else plays fair. You start asking which rules have real consequences and which are just designed to keep you controllable. This doesn't mean become a criminal. It means stop being naive about the game you're actually in. But here's where it gets personal. Even if you know the game is rigged and the rules are unequal, you might still think you can trust the people closest to you. The fifth shift is about to dismantle that belief entirely, and it's the most personal one of all. If you're still watching, you're in the top 10% of people who are truly ready to see clearly. Share this video with one person who needs to. Shift 5. Your enemies pretend to be friends. The people who are going to hurt you are not strangers. They're not obvious enemies. They are people who smile at you, people who tell you they have your back, people who act like they care. Because that's how betrayal works. You cannot be betrayed by an enemy. You can only be betrayed by someone you trusted. And the people who want to take from you, compete with you, undermine you, they know this. So they get close, act friendly, learn your weaknesses, wait for the right moment, and then they strike. And you never saw it coming, because you thought they were on your team. Think about every time you've been backstabbed. Every time someone you trusted turned on you. Were they obvious enemies before? No. They were friends, colleagues, people you helped, people you thought were loyal. And then they weren't. The signs were always there. You just didn't want to see them, because seeing them would mean admitting someone you trusted was actually a threat. And most people would rather stay blind than accept that truth. But staying blind doesn't protect you. It just makes you an easier target. Machiavelli wrote, "The deceiver will always find someone ready to be deceived." Because people want to trust. They want to believe their friends are really their friends. And deceivers use that desire as a weapon. They get close, they learn your secrets, they find out what you value, they figure out your weaknesses, and then, when it serves them, they use all of it against you. So what changes with this fifth shift? You stop trusting people just because they're nice to you. You start watching for patterns. Does this person celebrate your wins, or do they seem bothered by them? Do they support you when it costs them nothing, or when it's genuinely inconvenient? Do they keep your secrets, or does information you shared somehow always end up hurting you? When you stop taking friendliness at face value, you see who's real and who's performing. And most people are performing. Now you know your enemies smile at you, but there's one more thing you might be doing that makes yourself the perfect target. The sixth shift is about something society tells you is brave, but in the real world, it's one of the most dangerous things you can do. Keep watching. Shift 6. Weakness invites attack. The world tells you that being vulnerable is brave, that showing your struggles makes you human, that asking for help builds connection. In a perfect world, maybe that would be true. But this isn't a perfect world. This is a world full of predators, and predators don't respect vulnerability. They exploit it. When you show weakness, you are not building connection. You're painting a target on yourself. You're showing people exactly where to hit you. You're handing them a weapon, and some of them will absolutely use it. Think about a time you opened up to someone about a fear or an insecurity, and then later, in an argument, in a difficult moment, that exact thing was used against you. They knew it would hurt because you told them it would hurt. You gave them the weapon. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." What he meant, people respect strength more than vulnerability. When people know that crossing you has consequences, they treat you carefully. They think twice before betraying you. They don't test your limits. But when they think you're weak, when they think you won't fight back, they have no reason.
So what changes with this sixth shift? You stop oversharing. Stop broadcasting your problems. Stop seeking sympathy from people who haven't earned your vulnerability. You become selective. You share your struggles only with the small circle of people who have proven they won't use that information against you. For everyone else, you show strength, competence, the clear signal that crossing you is a bad idea. Not because you're mean, but because in a world full of predators, looking like prey gets you eaten. The people who are winning don't complain about their problems at work. They solve them quietly. They don't tell people about their insecurities. They work on them privately. They don't broadcast their failures. They learn from them in silence. 6 shifts down, 1 left. And this final shift is the one that separates people who understand the game from people who actually win the game. If you've made it this far, you need to hear what comes next. It will change how you operate for the rest of your life. Comment below, which shift hit you hardest so far? I want to know where you are. Shift 7. You're in a game whether you play or not. The final and most powerful shift.
You're in a game whether you play or not. Some people believe that by refusing to be strategic, by refusing to compete, they're somehow above it all. They're not playing dirty. They're just being authentic, and they hope that's enough. It is not enough. You are in the game whether you choose to play or not. Other people are playing. Other people are being strategic. Other people are building alliances, positioning themselves, taking opportunities. If you're not doing those things, you're not staying neutral. You're losing. Because refusing to play doesn't take you out of the game. It just makes you a piece instead of a player. Think about your workplace. The people getting promoted, are they the ones who work hardest and hope someone notices? Or are they the ones who make sure their work gets seen, who build relationships with decision makers, who position themselves strategically? The game is being played around you every single day. The only question is whether you are playing or whether you are being played. Machiavelli wrote, "You must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves." You need two types of intelligence. The fox sees the game being played, the traps, the manipulation, the strategies. The lion is strong enough, fierce enough, and strategic enough not to fall into them. You can't just be smart. You can't just see what's happening. You have to be willing to fight back, play your own game, use the same strategies being used against you. Because if you just see the game but refuse to play, you're still losing. You're just losing with your eyes open. So what changes with this seventh shift? You stop pretending you're not in a competition. You stop acting like being nice and working hard is a complete strategy. You start being intentional, thinking about how you're perceived, what relationships you're building, what opportunities you're positioning yourself for. You start playing chess while everyone else plays checkers. 3 moves ahead, always. And here's the most important part of this shift. Once you accept that you're in a game, you stop feeling guilty about playing strategically. You stop thinking that positioning yourself makes you a bad person. You stop apologizing for prioritizing yourself because you realize everyone else is doing it. They're just not admitting it. They're playing the game while pretending they're not. And that makes them the liars. You're playing the game while being honest with yourself about what you're doing, and that makes you dangerous. All 7 shifts have now happened inside your brain,